Thanks for tuning into the 6Three podcast. I'm your host, Joel, and my co-host, Ben, and we are facing a football season. And so we're going to try to get ahead of it, limit the extra weight in the next coming two podcasts and kind of split some off here. So we're going to do our Lions 53-man roster prediction first with the cuts that being made by August 29th. And then we will finish with our annual top 50 Michigan football players and then go through their game by game schedule, and that will help alleviate some of that extra stuff for next week. So we'll start with the 53-man roster. Let's start with quarterback here. Ben, who are your quarterback predictions to make the roster?
I think I'm just going to go with Goff and Bridgewater. I think they'll just keep two as of now. I know there's talk of maybe keeping three. I just don't see the point with the talent that's there. And obviously with Hooker still in the fold there, but obviously he's injured. So, right now I think keeping two is the only thing that makes a whole lot of sense for right now. So
those are my two as well. And now obviously Bridgewater didn't show much in that second preseason game. He was pretty bad, but that just more showcased how bad our second O-line is.
Yeah.
We cannot lose a lot of. I mean, you can afford to lose one because if you just have to plug in like one or two, it's
like I said,
if they're all playing together,
they're six deep there, and it's as good as any six in the league. But after that, don't love it.
A lot of help. Yeah. I'm sticking with Teddy B. I think just the Lions seem to have invested so much into a proven quarterback in this league, and I think it'd be. I mean, obviously Sudfeld has years under his belt too, but Sudfeld has been abysmal.
Yeah.
Every opportunity he's gotten. Adrian Martinez has done well and maybe could see the practice squad, but I don't anticipate that being a thing either.
No.
I think they're not really giving him a lot of chance. They're putting him in like the last two drives per game. So I think they're pretty much banking on him out too. And with Hendon Hooker starting the season on the NFI, I think they can afford to keep him on the NFI if they need to and make sure that he's good. But I did see an article say they will activate him if he's healthy. And I think at that point they might have to keep three quarterbacks if Bridgewater has done anything. What his contract looks like. What's the dead cap on that?
And you want the proven guy. You don't want to have to go to Hooker. I mean, especially they built this roster to win now, and if you end up having to go to Hooker, and the reason you're not, Bridgewater is an insurance policy at the end of the day.
You just if you activate him, you can't put him on the practice squad. Someone's going to snack him up.
Yep.
So, I mean, just given the fact that even 2 or 3 years ago, the Lions tried putting David Blau in the practice squad, and they're like, "Oh, we have to quick sign him because someone wants David Blau."
Yeah,
and I was like, "All right, it's a completely different situation." Hooker was a top 10 NFL draft talent before the injury, so it's I think that's going to be the option there. So at running back, I think my predictions here at running back would be, I think Montgomery probably still leads as a running back because I think Jahmyr Gibbs will make the roster, obviously, and I'll count him as running back, but he's going to play, I think, some slot receiver or a lot out of that double backfield to kind of fill in Jamo's absence and even maybe Amon-Ra, depending how long that is dealing with it. Yep. I think Craig Reynolds has not done well this preseason, and it's so hard to evaluate this talent with the offensive line that they're playing with right now because they're not putting any starters out there. And Reynolds ran 8 times for 13 yards last week. That's pretty terrible. We've obviously seen him pull 100-yard games too behind the starting O-line. But Jamar Jefferson figured it out a little bit. I've seen some good things from Jamar. Obviously, he offers return game capabilities as well. Davina Zigbo and Benny Snell are on this roster, and I just don't. Snell's look good in his time, but I don't know if they keep Jason Kabinda of that especially, which I think they're going to lean that way still, even though Kabinda's dropped some really easy passes this preseason.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's like do they just go away with the whole fullback offense now and just put a H-back tight end? You can make anybody play that, right?
Yeah, you got enough tight ends. Laporta, Wright, James Mitchell, any of those guys could play that.
So if they go away with Kabinda, which my gut still tells me they keep Kabinda because he's such a locker room Dan Campbell guy. I think they go with 3 running backs and then Kabinda. And I'm going to say Jamar, because of what he offers on special teams, may end up making it over Craig Reynolds here.
I think Craig's gonna make it. I'm gonna predict Craig.
Okay. Are you predicting Kabinda though as well?
Um, hmm, no,
Okay. So you think they're carrying? You're still running on three
I think they're gonna carry 3 running backs. You'll see.
and
You'll
no
see.
fullback.
You'll see no fullback, 3 tight ends, 6 active receivers.
Okay.
So you'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the it'll still work out.
Okay. Well, they can afford probably one of those. They're going to have to put probably at least one on the practice squad. So I don't know if that would be Snell or Jamar or whatever. But
I like Benny Snell, and I think it was a smart pickup to just see what he's got. But and I do like Jamar. I just think she's kind of a one-trick pony, and Snell might, if you're going to put him on the practice squad, might be a little more, uh, I don't know, useful if you need him down the road.
who are your wide receivers week one? So this does eliminate JMO, obviously, because he's not going to be a part of the 53
Right.
count.
Yeah. So I'm not even going to worry about. So Reynolds, Amon-Ra, Marvin Jones, Antoine Green, Khalif Raymond, and then I actually have Chase Coda here.
So you said, I'm trying to, you said Josh Reynolds, Marvin Jones, Amon-Ra, Khalif Raymond, and then Chase Coda.
Yeah.
So
So
you're running five wide receivers.
so Reynolds, Amon-Ra, Marvin Jones, Antoine Green, Khalif Raymond, Chase Coda.
Okay, Antoine Green this time. Okay, yeah,
I was
Antoine
back and
Green's had it.
forth- I was back and forth with him and Drummond, but I think Green's been a little more consistent.
I do agree with that. I like what I've seen from Antoine Green, especially even the preseason. Drummond had a big drop, but and not to say that he still had a really good training camp and turned a lot of years. And I'm considering he was like a afterthought, even as an undrafted free agent to make this. Like he was basically a tryout player out of Eastern, and he's made it as
Yeah.
that. So those are like the afterthoughts if you're a tryout player. So shout out to Dylan Drummond for grinding, but hopefully he lands on a practice squad. I wouldn't hate that. But I think that's a pretty solid list.
Mhm.
I think with me having Kabinda still, I think my cut is still going to come from an additional fourth tight end. I'm probably going to run on three. But who do I eliminate as a wide receiver? Obviously, yeah, I agree. Amon-Ra, he's in. Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond and Marvin Jones Jr. and
Yeah, I think those
so I
top
think
four are pretty easy. But
top four are set. Coda's done great. It's just I know he also started pretty much at the bottom of the bench to get all the way up here. So it'd be cool. I know they use draft capital on Antoine Green, but that doesn't mean he doesn't go still to like the practice squad and get snacked up like Jason Huntley did a couple years ago. I think they keep Antoine Green and they put Coda on the practice squad because I don't know if maybe Coda doesn't turn as many heads right off the bat to worry about losing him.
yeah, I don't know if you'd lose him other than he's had such a good preseason. But if there's a team that's in desperate need of like wide receiver depth, then maybe.
And I still think they could put Coda. Like, I don't know if I want to lock in 5 wide receivers to start. Like, that's the big thing. Chase Coda played good special teams as well. So it's like, okay, he still find himself a spot. I think I might actually, yeah, I might put Coda on this list too. I'm trying to figure it out as we go because I haven't actually made a projection, but I also don't want to overcount 53. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna say Coda comes, but I'm expecting you to probably have 4 tight ends and need 3 to probably catch up somewhere. Or are
I've
you
got
carrying the
3.
additional O lineman?
I've got 3. I'm carrying an additional offensive lineman, probably depending on where you. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could throw on some defense too, kind of, but yeah.
Or you might give the extra player. You might just keep both kickers, right? Parker Romo and Riley Patterson. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely gonna do that because that's definitely what Dan Campbell like wants to do. He loves kickers.
You're in his head. You know exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, he definitely. If he could help it, he would just not kick ever.
So tight ends, I think, yeah, I'm gonna pick I think Laporta.
Yep.
Then my big blank, Brock, right? I think James Mitchell's done himself enough. I don't like any of the tight ends after that. Obviously,
Nope.
like if they had Shane Zylstra, though, it's still something I'd consider where they may run 4 tight ends.
100%.
Waiving him to the injury settlement, it's like I don't think so. Daryl Daniels and Daniel Helm aren't
Nope.
going to make even a roster after they get cut by the Lions. I think it's just they're too far for them. So yeah, I'm going to stick with those 3 guys. I think that's pretty sad.
100% agree on the tight ends there. That's the 3 that I have. I don't think you need more than 3.
Yep. And then who are your offensive linemen? This is going to be obviously a little bit more of a mouthful for you, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So Taylor Decker,
Yep.
Jonah Jackson,
Yep.
Frank Ragnow, Grant
Yep.
Glasgow, Penei Sewell. I have Ifeadi.
Oh, okay. Jermaine Ifedi. Yeah.
Yeah. Vaitai, Sourcedal. And then I hate it, but I do have them keeping Matt Nelson right now.
No.
The reason is
Because he can play D end also.
well, no, the reason is because he can play so many different positions along the offensive line, and I feel like they are going to find some value in that. Even though I do think he stinks now, I think he's not as bad if he's like around the starters though. I think it's making him look worse because he's like supposed to be the better one up there right now with the
right now he's like next to Brad Cecil and
it's just not working.
Brian Swoboda, and it's not. Yeah.
Source doll, I feel like is actually kind of hit or miss, but I think they see something there. They obviously used draft capital on him, and they're going to want to keep him around. Ifeadi, I think, has shown enough. So
I know like Dan Campbell loves Matt Nelson so much.
Yep.
It's beyond frustrating, but I get it. He's done well as that swing tackle, the additional jumbo tight end. Like he does fine in those positions, but yeah, I'm
I
gonna run
wouldn't
down.
be surprised, like if I had, that I could go, that could change for me I could have like Nelson gone and Kabinda, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't, and that would make complete sense to me to do. But I think just having you want to have some extra guys up front too. So
So this would be that's 23. So you've got 23 offensive players so far, just as a count. I'm gonna have Obina Eze make it over Matt Nelson. I just do not want to see Matt Nelson.
I just don't think he's that much. I just don't think he's very good either.
I think, yeah, I mean, hopefully we never have to see any of those guys. But I think, I don't know. From what I've seen of Matt Nelson, it's like he's done himself no favors this preseason, and he should be doing favors with his fourth. This is his 4th year with the regime. So it's like you've got to have this figured out by now.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I may actually also add, I mean, I don't know how I forgot Jermaine Ifedi. I'm also gonna have Ifedi there. He's a proven tackle, whether it's backup or not in this league, so it'd be hard to leave him off. You just drafted Colby Sorsdahl in like 4th round, so can't forget him. I also wouldn't be surprised if they even go with Coyote Oshika. I like Oshika. Bobby Hart's had some experience in the league, so it's like Hart's look bad. Oshika at least played with the team last year and filled in a little bit, played some special teams offensive line, and also filled in a couple games as well. So he spent most of the year on like as like the 50, like one of the guys that was the healthy inactives for a while. So he's been with the roster. It's like hard to leave that off. I think they're gonna run with 24 offensive players. So I'm gonna stick with the difference is I'm adding Aze and Kabinda, and I think that's really the only difference on our roster. So for offense so far. So so I'll go to defensive line here, and I will try to make my predictions. I mean, I'll start here with Kaminsky. He's found himself a spot. He's been probably their best player all preseason. Then I'm going to obviously take Hutch. Why wouldn't you? Isaiah Buggs is a guarantee. Aleem McNeil is a guarantee. I mean, they drafted Broderick Martin. I think he's probably making it too. The Aquara brothers have Julian. I thought, he asked me 3 weeks ago. I would have said Julian is cut. Julian's made himself a case.
So is Romeo though, honestly.
And so is Romeo. And I don't know if you're not getting rid of Josh Pascal yet.
No, Pascal's been. I mean, Pascal might start at D tackle in some
Yeah,
games.
yeah. I think, and I've seen good and bad from Levi and Wuzurike, which frankly you're gonna have to show only good at this point. You're running
Yeah,
behind the eight ball.
but I think he's still gonna make the team. I think he's still
He's
making it.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna leave him off this list for now. I want to make sure that I have an adequate count first before I just start digging him in there. But yeah, I'm gonna say Romeo's making it.
Yep.
Man, Christian Covington has not looked bad either.
No.
It's tough. And that
I'm going with
defensive
6.
middle.
Or I'm sorry, I'm going with 8. 8 guys there.
Okay. I've got 3, 6, 7.
So I'm going with Kaminsky, McNeil, Bugs, Hutch, and then I'm going with Pascal on Wuzurike, Mark Martin, and Romeo Aquara.
I think I'm with the way that this depth chart's listed, I'm probably gonna have like linebackers in it, which is why I don't want to.
Well, I've got like Charles Harris and James Houston as like a Sam linebacker type, like an outside linebacker, which they're making the
Yeah,
team.
so I'll make that list when I get to I'll write that down when I get to linebacker. I'll just put it down according to this. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that notification popped up. That is stupid.
See that? Well,
All
we
right.
can
Well,
probably
we'll at least be able to finish this portion, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we'll get back, and it shouldn't be a long recording to upload and start up again.
No.
So all right, yeah. So defensive line, what do you obviously you said Kaminsky, Hutch,
Yep.
let's get this down. Bugs, Agleem,
Yep.
Broderick, Pascal, Romeo.
Yep. And then I said on Wuzurike.
Wuzurike. Okay, so you are carrying 8.
8. Yep.
Okay. All right, then who are your linebacker picks?
So I'll go. I'm carrying 8 here as well, actually.
Okay.
So Anzalone, Campbell, and I'll put Charles Harris here as a linebacker, kind of, but he's not really. Rodrigo, Derek Barnes, James Houston, and then Jalen Reeves-Maybin. And then this is hit or miss, but I'm going with Anthony Pittman here.
Okay. Yeah, Pittman's tough too because this is also like his 3rd or 4th year with the Lions, so he knows the system. Yeah, I'm saying obviously Anzalone, Campbell, Rodrigo, and Barnes. I think I'd be shocked if any of those guys got like part of me like worries that Barnes might get cut, but I feel like he's done okay. Let's see here. Yeah, Charles Harris, we talked about that. That's a make. Houston. Yep, JRM. I like that too. So then it comes down to that last linebacker spot. And if I want to use it for Julian Aquara because I didn't use it for my extra D line, or do I think they just carry more in the secondary?
Yep.
Because like I said, they have Kaminsky and Pascal that can pretty much play any of those spots. Even Romeo Aquara could probably kick in any two because he's a bigger guy. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna stop at JRM, and I don't know. I like Pittman too. It's gonna be tough to see that one go, but I'm not gonna do that one. For corners, I will. I'll pick CJ Gardner Johnson, Mosley. Although I don't know, he's on the pup right now. I imagine he'll be activated by season start. It's hard for me.
I don't have him on this list right now because he's still on the pup, but I would expect
that might change the scenario if he's not activated. Then yeah, I think you keep a guy like Pittman or Aquara for sure, or maybe even Covington. And then either one of those guys could probably get waived at any given time when Mosley comes back. So I'm gonna guess that Mosley will be back.
So I went with he's not gonna be back, so I put in a guy that I think might, has looked good in preseason in the second at corner. For now. And then that guy gets booted off more than likely if Mosley's for sure coming back.
That's fair. Yeah, so I'm gonna have Mosley, CJ, Sutton, Brian Branch is listed as a corner. Jerry Jacobs, I'm gonna have. Um, Will Harris is listed as corner. I think he's got to go now, man. I'm
I have him on
I,
here. I have him on here, but I would love to not.
I think I'm leaning towards. This is where it gets interesting. I think Chase Lucas also because of special teams is going to make it.
I think he's
Um,
gone. I don't have him on here. Chase
he-
Lucas always almost makes a play.
that's
He's
fair.
almost making a play all the time.
I'm gonna the tight decision for me is who makes it between Starling Thomas and Stephen Gilmore.
I have them both on this list.
Okay, good.
But I also have Mosley not on the list, right? And one of them's gone if Mosley is there.
It definitely makes them battle each other like that. They're the
Right.
guys that are that last spot. So,
Yep.
I'm giving it to Starling Thomas right now because I also saw some good stuff in special teams from him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Wow, that means 3, 6, 7 corners that I have. So who are your corners? You have CJ GJ, and then you've got Sutton,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Sutton,
Branch.
Branch is nickel. I have Jerry Jacobs.
Yep.
And then Starling Thomas and Stephen Gilmore.
Okay.
And then I have Will Harris on there as well.
Okay, Will Harris. All right.
I mean, you can. Yeah.
It's tough because he can play safety in a pinch too. It's like
Right.
okay.
He's
But I just think
pretty
he's so
valuable.
like mid to not good.
The safety in position is going to be very interesting when my last safety on here is
Well, I was going to say, speaking of that, who are your safeties?
so Kirby Joseph, Tracy Walker, Melifonwu.
Yep.
And then I have also Brady Breeze.
Ooh. It would, especially if Coda makes it, like that's some good motivation
cool.
right there from each
That'd be cool. I think he's played well, right? He's shown something. Could be a special teams guy for sure. Part of it is not having Kabinda. I think also not carrying a fullback is that kind of. I'm looking at it as like the last spot on the roster type of guy, and he's kind of that guy. Other than
you're pretty much playing it perfectly because that's now 50 offense and defense, and that's perfect for the 3.
Punter, kicker, and long snapper, right? So yeah, we should be good.
That leaves me with pretty much the same amount of spots to use safety here, but I don't think I have 5 safeties that I like, so that maybe does change something. Okay, so yeah, Tracy.
I don't love. I mean, I had 4. So
I know, but I have to do 5 because I was one spot. You added Will Harris. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not
I did.
doing that.
But you could add a Pittman. You could add a Pittman or a defensive tackle, even if you wanted to. Or, I mean, I'm just trying to think where the Lions are going to find value in adding like an extra person. You know what I mean? An extra position there.
It's tough because I think they can afford, like, obviously they have CJ and Branch both listed as corners, but they can play safety too. So it's like you don't need those extra guys.
Well, Tracy Walker has played safety with the second team a lot this camp.
And Melifonwu plays, but I mean, it's probably one of the most versatile secondaries in the league, which is nice.
Yeah.
But that leaves two spots. If I only because right now it's Chasey, Kirby, and Melifonwu for me that I feel like are the givens. And then after that, it's like I'm not sure on Brady Breeze. I think like you said, I agree. He's played pretty well. I always feel bad for him because I always feel like he's like that 55th or 56th guy.
Yeah.
It's like he's just gonna miss it. So from that perspective, I think maybe they do give. I think I'm gonna add Levi when Wuzurike.
Okay.
I think
I mean, they drafted him high enough that they're like he's got to work out. You know what I mean? Like they're just really hoping.
And if they do one more special teams guy, then I feel like Breeze is a guy that really does jump out to me to play that position. Like they just signed Scott Nelson today. I don't think he's doing anything. They needed another white safety because Brady Breeze wasn't enough.
Scott Nelson ain't it for me. So
I'm gonna go with you on that. I think Breeze is a good pick. And then I think, that leaves Jack Fox. Kicker, I think, is gonna be Riley Patterson.
Yep.
And then I think, Scott Daly won the job over Jake McQuaid. So
I think that's pretty much wrapped up unless somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really giving Parker Romo that much time to like try to pass Riley either. So that's pretty
Yeah.
much that's it. Those are our 53. So yeah, we'll
There's
take
some
a
changes.
brief.
I think that's for me, it's pretty set. But obviously, when you get down to the bottom of the roster, do they keep Kabinda?
I really think it is pretty set. I think obviously you can make discussions on like maybe six roster spots.
Yep.
But it's crazy that at this point we can feel good about probably 47 or 48 of these 53 players
Definitely
as a roster lock. So
yeah,
yeah, let's take a brief break. We'll be right back to do the Michigan.
for sure.